Welcome to the final briefings of the Capstone workshop in Integrative Sustainability Management. And a special welcome to those of you who are watching the live stream tonight. My name is George Sarah-Nicolau. I'm an instructor in the Master of Sustainability Management program and a manager at the Earth Institute here at Columbia University. The Sustainability Management program teaches students the practical skills that they need to change the way that organizations do business. And by that, I mean integrating sustainability concerns in the operations of organizations. The Capstone workshop course epitomizes what we try to do in the program. Students in this course work on real sustainability projects for clients in the nonprofit sector and in government. And in working on those projects, they draw on the basic components of the curriculum. In order to deliver a solution to their clients, they need to understand organizations, management, economics, quantitative analysis, policy, and of course, sustainability. Tonight, we will hear about 5 such projects. They have to do with community resilience, conservation and ecotourism, waste management, and clean energy technologies. The clients for these projects are based in Mexico, Peru, Connecticut, Westchester, and even Union Square here in Manhattan. Each presentation is going to be 10 minutes long, followed by a few minutes of questions from the audience. After that question period, we will take a 5-minute break. During that time, the live stream will go mute. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, I will call you back to your seats and we will resume with the next presentation. I'd like to ask you to silence your various devices and to wait for the microphone if you're asking a question so that you can be heard online. Okay, let's begin. Our first presentation is by Whitney. Please welcome her to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you for joining us here this evening as I take you through our project, Building Rural Resilience with Ashoka, Mexico. This is ADVOCACY, a rural community south of Mexico City in the state of Morelos. Farming forms the basis of their economy, and many of the 1,200 residents struggle to afford basic necessities like food, water, and energy. Despite access to education and infrastructure, the community remains underdeveloped due to a lack of economic, social, and political resources. In September 2017, a major earthquake hit central Mexico, impacting rural communities near the epicenter. ADVOCACY saw the loss of over 70 homes, the destruction of the regional school, and several local businesses. The earthquake recovery effort revealed underlying vulnerabilities or insufficiencies within the community. For example, a lack of financial resources and construction skills left many homeless for months. We define community resilience as a community's sustained capacity to withstand, respond to, and recover from adverse events. The aim of our project is to increase resilience in the rural communities of Mexico. Our client is Ashoka Mexico, who incubate and train leading social entrepreneurs as part of a global network. Social entrepreneurs apply commercial strategies to enhance economic and environmental equity in developing communities. For example, some of Ashoka's social entrepreneurs specialize in small-scale biodigestion, market access for women's piecework, and compressed earth block construction. Ashoka was inspired by the earthquake to solve community resilience problems through social enterprise. The goal is to take developing communities from meeting basic needs a step farther to achieving sustainable development. Pictured here are a few participating social entrepreneurs and a forum that they held with community members of ADVOCACY. Our capstone is vital to this new venture, and we were asked to develop a strategy to coordinate the efforts of a group of social entrepreneurs for community intervention. Our problem statement asks how to deploy social enterprise to build community resilience. We began by defining the principles of community resilience. We then used these principles to assess the vulnerabilities of ADVOCACY and the capabilities of social entrepreneurs to address those. Our strategic framework assesses both sides using a matrix of resilience vulnerabilities, as well as a community assessment and an entrepreneur checklist that assesses the group of entrepreneurs as a whole. We use the results from these two to determine best fit for intervention. And beyond fit, we found that collaboration among social entrepreneurs holds the potential to solve multiple community problems at once. We refer to these as synergies for collaboration. Our resilience matrix has 4 key risk categories: economic, social, political, and physical. We then further subdivided these categories into specific vulnerabilities. For example, in the physical category, we have water. Water can be a vulnerability due to water scarcity, poor water quality, or poor treatment of wastewater. We found that vulnerabilities can be measured using a variety of tools and methods, including community interviews, community surveys, on-site physical analysis, and remote research, including GIS mapping. Mid-semester, we sent a delegation of our Capstone team to ADVOCACY to perform community interviews and on-site physical analysis. This complemented an earlier community survey that was applied by ASHOKA. Physical analysis included water quality testing using the tool depicted here, as well as a logistical mapping of agricultural and residential water access. Next, we show a residential off-grid well, and lastly, wastewater discharge from the community. We used this information to identify the vulnerabilities of ADVOCACY and rate them on an intensity scale of 1 to 5. For example, we determined that water was a medium to high vulnerability within the community with a score of 3. In ADVOCACY's, flaws in the water system could lead to a water shortage for agricultural needs. And this could be a major risk for the community, as local agriculture is not only a primary food source, but also a major economic driver. While in Mexico, we also interviewed several social entrepreneurs who are a part of this venture. And these entrepreneurs helped us to learn about their business models as well as their technologies. We also gathered information on their capabilities that could be leveraged for resilience, including advocacy, distribution of products and services, technical assistance, education, and monitoring. These capabilities form the basis of our entrepreneur checklist. After comparing the results of our community assessment and our entrepreneur checklist, we were able to determine best fits for intervention. We identified 3 entrepreneurs who have the capabilities of reducing water scarcity in ADVOCACY. One of them is Isla Urbana, who specializes in rainwater collection. Another is Grupo Tesec, who specialize in natural resource preservation and delivery systems. And finally, Naturalia, who specialize in the conservation of rural ecosystems. Throughout this project, we used diagrams to illustrate the interdependency between community systems. These diagrams helped us to identify synergies for collaboration among the social entrepreneurs. One synergy that we were able to discern was between housing, agriculture, and water. Here we show Shelley Atsukasa, who used compressed earth block construction to build a housing unit. Then Isla Urbana come in and use that vacant roof for rainwater collection. The water that's collected runs through a biodigester supplied by Sistema Biobolsa to convert cow manure into cooking gas to supply the home, and fertilizer to supply the fields. And then Universidad Chipingo, who come in and teach educational workshops for fertilizer application for the community. Ultimately, this increases agricultural output and enhances economic viability within the community. Major challenges that we faced in this project included a lack of organizational structure. We came in the very beginning stages of this venture before leadership had been assigned, and this made it difficult for us to coordinate the entrepreneurs and gather the information from them that we needed. We also faced challenges standardizing data. With a combination of qualitative and quantitative data, we were initially challenged about where to set our thresholds and indicators. Ultimately, what we discovered is that community interviews were the most comprehensive source of data, and this is what we used to run our community assessment. For example, while mapping logistical water access within the community, we discovered that the community communally farms sugarcane as part of a profit-sharing and land-sharing agreement called an ejido. This piece of information was not registered in the community survey that had previously been applied, and also indicates the importance of community interviews for comprehensive community assessment. So based on this, we recommend that all future projects begin with recorded community interviews before launching into other forms of more in-depth data analysis. Our ultimate deliverable is a general framework that Ashoka can use for future projects. This could be applied to rural communities in the neighboring areas of ADVOCACY that were also impacted by the earthquake, or in other areas of rural Mexico that face different vulnerabilities. It also allows for the inclusion of new social entrepreneurs who wish to join the venture. And ultimately, with success in ADVOCACY, Ashoka will move to launch new projects across rural Mexico and attract new partners to the mission. Thank you. I will now take questions.
Besides water, what other physical vulnerabilities did you find?
That is a great question. Besides water, we also found that the community regularly suffered from structural damage as a result of mudslides. And beyond physical vulnerabilities, we also discovered that the community suffered from economic issues dealing with affordability, access to healthcare and mental health services, and a low political will to fund resilience building projects.